Whoa, Ruger RXM. R for Ruger, X, cool guy way to say and Magpul. It's new gun day, fellas. You know what that means. Here's my usual spiel. This is the brand new Ruger RXM. It's very exciting. It's very new, and it probably was sent to a bunch of different YouTubers and gun reviewers. It was subject to an embargo, which means that it was released today, and we are only allowed to talk about it today. You're probably going to see a lot of content from a lot of different content creators about this gun today. That doesn't automatically mean that everyone who's reviewing it took a paycheck. I can tell you I am not. I don't know how many people got this gun. I don't know how many videos you're going to see today, but thank you for watching mine. And if you like my program, consider supporting us at subscribestar.com/TFBTV. We give away 6 $250 gift certificates to Top Gun Supply every month, 4 $100 gift certificates to Blue Alpha every single month to randomly selected supporters. Think about supporting us so we can stay independent. We rely on you. Please help us out. Let's talk about this new Ruger RXM. Initial impressions, feels like a Magpul grip, which is a good thing, right? We all have them on our ARs. It feels and looks like Magpul polymer. You can see a little bit of a flared magwell there. Great grip texture, good ergos, Glock 19 size. An optics cut, you've got a trigger that's pretty effing decent. Like, this is a good trigger. Forward slide serrations, taller sights that kind of co-witness with the Holosun that we have on here. This seems like a really nice pistol. Improving upon the original, always a tall order, but that's what Ruger's aiming to do with this new pistol, which is more or less a Gen 3 Glock clone. This is notable as we've seen Gen 3 Glock pistols from smaller boutique companies like Zev. We've seen it from budget companies like Palmetto State Armory, but this is the first time we've seen a Glock clone from a large established manufacturer, no less from Ruger, a very traditional manufacturer. Second, this isn't just a Ruger project, it's a collaboration with Magpul RXM. Not quite an economy tier company, Ruger's seen as a manufacturer that provides quality, budget-minded options to its customers. Magpul enjoys a similar reputation as a reasonably priced quality component manufacturer, thus it makes total sense for Ruger to team up with the Prince of Polymers for this project. Let me give you a little Glock context. Text. The original Gen 3 Glock was released in 1999. I remember its first appearance in cinema, The Matrix. Of course, as a true fanboy, that scene is forever burned into my Glocksucker psyche. This also means that the patent on the Gen 3 Glock recently expired, which is why you've seen manufacturers blatantly copying the Gen 3 with little fear of legal repercussion. Funny enough, Glock still manufactures the Gen 3 Glock primarily because it was on the California-approved handgun roster. I always say that if you're going to copy in the firearms industry, you better make it cheaper or better, or ideally, both. It's difficult to improve upon the Gen 3 Glock. Perfection, right? Which is why, given the choice, the third generation of perfection, I would rather spend another $100 or $200 on the real deal Glockenspiel over something like a PSA Dagger, but I doubt PSA is going to suffer much selling their Glock clones that are pretty decent copies at $300 a piece. After all, there are 43,000 manufactured housing communities in the United States, so PSA has a very wide customer base that has never seen $500 in one place at the same time. Similarly, you've got the other end of the scale, the Zev OZ9 series, a highly tuned and customized Gen 3 Glock clone that adds a serialized and interchangeable chassis that allows you to purchase grip modules, swap them out to change the size of your pistol. Ruger and Magpul looking to split the difference between these two guns. PSA sells the Dagger for as little as $300. A Zev will run you $1,500 and up. MSRPs on a Gen 3 Glock 19 about $600. Ruger's going to offer the RXM at a $499 MSRP bold. Street price going to start with a 4. It's cheaper than a Glock, but more expensive than a Dagger. But is it better than either? Listen to the feature set, you tell me. The biggest divergence from the Glock is that the Ruger will utilize a modular chassis system. I take modular chassis systems on new platforms with a grain of salt. Like being impregnated by a gun tuber, there's no guarantee that there will ever be any support for you in the future. At this point, how many guns offer interchangeable chassis? How many of those guns, think about it, not made by SIG, offer more than 3 or 4 options for frames and slides? I'm having a hard time thinking of any right this second. Obviously, serialized chassis is better than no chassis, but chassis systems, until they are developed, to borrow an epistemological phrase from my uncle Cletus, don't mean shit. Let's get to what I really love about this pistol, the frame. It's classic, unmistakable Magpul. It looks like Magpul, it feels like Magpul, it tastes like Magpul, and that's some good shit. If you have a number of their components, you would identify this as a Magpul product from across the room. Not just because it's got that signature texture and geometric aesthetic, but it has clever little design cues. There's a slightly flared magazine well, and when you look inside of it, another little surprise, you've got a series of fins that form a magazine funnel. Not often do I look into dark holes and like what I find, so touche Magpul. It comes with two 15-round Magpul mags and of course accepts all Glock mags. The RXM frame also has a trigger guard undercut, which is a popular modification on the Gen 3 Glocks, makes it easier to handle, more comfortable to shoot. Plus, it's got a more robust beaver tail to offer better control. It's got a Glock-style rail for many accessories underneath the dust cover. Ruger says this is parts interchangeable with many, air quotes, Gen 3 Glock parts and works with many, air quotes, Gen 3 holsters. And I think that's likely true because Ryan and I tested out no less than 4 different Glock 19 holsters and it worked with all of them. This is huge because this is the deepest well of holsters you could ever hope to draw from. Pun intended. You guys catch that one?
Got a Raven Vanguard, which I happen to like a lot. Minimalist holster, as minimalist as it gets. And even though you can see the silhouette of your typical Glock trigger guard in there, it doesn't quite match. This one's a little more rounded. It doesn't have that horn like you've got on the Glock trigger guard. It still kind of works. Not as snug. See, nice tight fit on a Gen 4 Glock. This one, a little wobbly, but keeping it in your pants, ooh, that gun's warm. If I was wearing like a shirt that fit, then it probably would conceal pretty well as well.
When do you ever, James?
When do I ever?
You've got a low-profile ambidextrous gas pedal on either side, which is, in true Magpul fashion, discreetly designed but still functional. The mag release is at least as good as the original Gen 3 Glock mag release. The RXM comes optics ready, similar to the Springfield Echelon. The Ruger RXM, it's direct mountable with several patterns, including the most popular, the RMR, the DPP, and the RMSC pattern optics. This doesn't come without its drawbacks, however.
Cool thing about this gun, similar to the Springfield Echelon, it accepts several mounting patterns, which I'm sure I'm going to talk about at some point in this video. But when you have multiple options, there's also a bit of compromise. In other words, like the fit isn't perfect. Here you can see there's a gap kind of between the rear sight and our optic, and it already kind of worked itself loose just after a few hundred rounds of rapid fire out on the range. Now to be fair, we didn't put any Loctite in this gun.
Co-witness height steel sights. That's a big complaint about most stock Glocks. They're plastic sights. Serrated blackout rear and a tritium front sight. Excellent sights. Optics are totally optional if you're using this for carry. Sights are great out of the box. Slide serrations are handsome but functional. The slide is black FNC nitride or ferritic nitrocarburizing. This is a thermochemical diffusion process that creates a black hard case finish resistant to wear and corrosion. Or so Google tells me. The semi-flat trigger in this pistol is better than what you will get in any stock Glock.
Pow! Really nice. Let's check this reset. Yeah, very similar to a Glock. I wonder why that is.
So how does it shoot? To put it simply, it shoots like a Glock 19, but with a better trigger and optics compatibility. It shoots very well.
I wanted to stop shooting after the first 5. I drew, came right out of the holster. First 5 all went right there. Rapid fire, just right out of the holster. This gun is shooting really well. Ryan, middle yellow circle. Middle yellow circle. That's just boom out of the holster and shooting 2 mags from 7 yards out. That's, wow.
No failures, but we only put about 400 rounds through it. This is built in the Glock design, known for its reliability, so I'm not expecting any reliability issues from this pistol. The Ruger RXM isn't just another Glock clone. It's a fresh take on a classic design, blending proven Gen 3 Glock reliability with modern enhancements that shooters actually want.
I mean, this thing shoots really well. I'm actually quite impressed with this.
Ruger and Magpul have raised the bar with features like modular chassis, the improved ergonomics, solid trigger, optics readiness, all at a price point that makes it accessible without cutting corners. This is still a quality gun.
I carry a Gen 3 Glock 19. This feels very similar.
Is it better?
Well, I've got a lot of money in mind, but I will say, if I was to buy a new stock gun in this fashion, I would probably get this.
That said, the RXM's true potential hinges on whether or not Magpul and Ruger are going to fully commit to supporting this platform. The modular design promising, but for it to shine, we need to see a variety of frame slides and color options hit the market. I think they would do well just to release the frame that they have now that they're introducing this gun with, in like 4 or 5 different Magpul colors. I can guarantee you people are going to go nuts for that. But hear me out, Magpul, Ruger, if you guys are listening to this video, a sand-colored frame for custom dyeing. You guys remember when you did that. But without support from Ruger or Magpul, without new slides, without new frames, this pistol might not reach the heights it's capable of. As it stands, the RXM, fantastic option. It's a great gun, especially if you're looking for Glock compatibility with parts and upgrades and holsters straight out of the box. It is better than a Gen 3 Glock on paper. It won't unseat the Gen 3 Glock or the Gen 3 Glock's reputation for reliability. Nothing will, after millions and millions of copies made for a quarter century of proven reliability and durability. But it does offer an intriguing alternative. I'm a little curious. Might be, okay, I think it is the best Glock clone on the market for the money today. And I think many of you out there might say better than a Gen 3 Glock at the price. One thing's for sure, it could even be the best polymer frame pistol of the year if Ruger and Magpul play their cards right. Either way, this collaboration is a bold move, one that I applaud, and I think we all should watch very closely. That is my totally unbiased, well, a little biased, you guys know I'm a huge Glock shill, but that is my somewhat unbiased and totally free review of the Ruger RXM. Think about supporting us on Subscribestar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves out there. I appreciate you.